students, Antonio Graham, said to me a few years ago. He said that he was always amazed when he took my class because he couldn't understand how a person could give a lecture without using notes. Until he came to class early one day and he came to my office and he saw me bent over my desk poring over my notes. And that's when he understood that preparing a lecture is it's a hard job. It takes time at your house. It takes time in your office. It's very hard work. My brother Kim's father, who was a great comedian, was at my home once, and I was looking at some of my notes, which probably had become yellowed, and he asked me, why is it that you are having to study your notes that you've been giving for 35 years? And what I said to him is that to be good, you have to do the work. Giving a lecture is not easy. It's very hard work, but the reward that we get, and David could tell the story perhaps better than I, the reward that we get is the interaction that we have with students. And that's what kept him at Morehouse, I think, for maybe 33 years, and what has kept me at Morehouse for 45 years. I've gone to the cell biology meeting every year since I joined the society in 1990. And I continue to be amazed by the discoveries that we're making about cells. Every day we're making these incredible discoveries. And so when I attend the various sessions at cell biology, I'm taking notes like a student. And I can't wait to get back to Morehouse to share the latest word with my students. Okay? That's why I keep rewriting my notes, because it's always changing, and it's very exciting. I've had the good fortune to teach cell biology at Morehouse for 45 years. But in addition, I've been a research scientist and an administrator. And I have enjoyed this career absolutely immensely. Okay, so Morehouse has treated me very well. I want to thank my wife, Carolyn, for giving me the opportunity to spend the kind of time that I've spent. I put a lot of time in at Morehouse. Tom Blocker. Tom Blocker and I used to see who could spend the longest day at Morehouse. On one occasion, he left the building at 12 o'clock and he left a note and he said, "I noticed that your light was out." So I also want to just close by thanking Renee Calhoun. Renee, as she indicated, has worked with me for 20 years. And more recently, she has just taken over my classes. So I could not teach my classes these days without Renee. And so she does, and the students here will tell you how important she is. She has become really the chief advisor for students who take my class. She sends them emails encouraging them. She calls them to her office to talk with them about how they're doing. And it relieves that pressure on me. I can keep writing exams and doing the other things. So Renee has been very valuable to me. So again, I want to thank all of you for this evening. I think this has been very special. I think the Morehouse fraternity is something that's very special. And so we want to pass it on to the next generation. And again, I think in biology, you can all be pleased that we have an outstanding core of young faculty members who will keep this department strong into the far future. Thank you.
Now I got to bring this damn microphone back down. All right, listen. I think we've had an absolutely wonderful event today. Can we please just really quickly give another round of applause to Dr. Cook and Dr. Haynes? Stand up, stand up. As we bring things to a close, before I introduce our last person that will say a few words, I hope that everyone here and everyone listening and everyone viewing online really get an understanding of what Morehouse is, what this fraternity is like, being a member of and a part of the Morehouse family, and how far our reach goes, how many people we're able to touch and influence, and it starts with our faculty. I see a lot of lapel pins that are out here, and I see a lot of representations of a lot of things. So I wear a lapel pin, and this lapel pin I've worn pretty much at every event for the last 12 years or so. What we do at Morehouse, I took that energy and I took it to Johns Hopkins. Now, again, I'm a country boy from Jacksonville, Florida. I never even thought about being a physician or physician scientist until I came to Morehouse and I saw black men who were scientists. That concept was foreign to me. So going to a place like Hopkins and thinking I could actually make a difference was never something I thought was possible until I sat in these individuals' classrooms. So I get to Hopkins and I say, well, we want to go in and recruit the best and the brightest. And so I went on this huge endeavor to bring the best and brightest minority students to Hopkins. And at our peak, we had 26 African Americans in the MD PhD program, 14 black men. 5 of those were from Morehouse. And part of what please clap for that. Clap for that. Got to say that one again. And part of what I did was I wanted to bring the camaraderie and the energy that we have here. And so I told the individuals that were there, I was always in the offices, just like I was with you and with you. I was in the office of the dean and the CEO at Johns Hopkins. And I would talk to them about my ideas. I want to bring everybody together under kind of one banner. And you know what we should do? Like, I'm in a fraternity. I know a lot of people here are in fraternity. We understand what that means. We're all part of the Morehouse fraternity. And so I said, I want to create a coat of arms. I want to create a crest for the Johns Hopkins MD PhD program. I want to create a Latin phrase and a logo. I want to give it some meaning. And so I sent that all the way up to the powers that be. They all loved it. And I was the one that was able to create the official crest for the Johns Hopkins MD PhD program. I have it tattooed on my arm. I have it here on my lapel. That is my contribution, a long-lasting contribution to an institution that at one point pushed us away and didn't accept us. And now they are now forever. I'm forever be a part of that. I will forever have my stamp, but that stamp started here at Morehouse. So that is the importance of a place like Morehouse College. To close things out, I want to bring up somebody that I truly, truly respect. This Thomas J. Blocker Society is something that we on the TJ, can I just give a round of applause to everybody that's on the board for the Thomas J. Blocker Society? Please give a round of applause. Stand up, stand up. Thomas J. Blocker Society board members, please stand up. Like all groups that are consist of Morehouse men, we have had some interesting conversations. We have had fights. We have hashed it out, but we love each other. We are dedicated to what we do. We are happy to come together for this purpose of bringing more financial support to Morehouse and to the men who will become the next Dr. Jordan Brunsons and the next Dr. Henshaws and the next Dr. Eric Tates and the next Dr. David Cooks and the next Dr. J.K. Haynes. And so the individual that is the driving force behind that is our president, who really and truly embodies everything that it is to be a Morehouse man. So I want to bring up Dr. Vandy Gaffney to say a few closing words.
What an evening we've had, tonight. And I think when the idea for this event came together, I couldn't imagine seeing a room full of Morehouse alums, family, friends from decades. We talk about 45 years and 33 years respectively, across decades of an impact and a reach. And so for everyone here, from the Thomas J. Blocker Society Executive Board, thank you for sharing your time, for coming to celebrate and to honor these kings of biology who have impacted so many of us. I have a quick story. So I'm an anesthesiologist, as mentioned. Every once in a while, I'm taking care of a patient. I'm about to induce, meaning we're about to put a patient to sleep, and I'll start laughing. And I'll think of a story, and that story is Dr. David Cook, coming into class and sitting down and talking about, this young man and this young boy running through a jungle in South Africa, and he's crouching down, and he's got his little arrow, and he hits a monkey in the neck with that curare, and that monkey's coming out that tree, y'all. That monkey's coming out that tree. And for years we've heard that story, and I laugh because I get to use medical curare every day. That's paralysis when we put the patients to sleep. And so I'll laugh, and for two reasons. People, when you laugh in the OR by yourself, during that time, people look at you like, what's going on? And that guy's crazy, so don't mess with him. But secondly, I think about how I got there. How I got to the position, of being able to have the privilege of taking care of patients. And it's because of people like Dr. Cook and Dr. Haynes who have done so much for all of us. And for me personally, get us to this point where you laugh, and then you have a deep sense of appreciation that comes along with it. And so I want to say thank you. As Rob mentioned, I want to say thank you to the officers of the Thomas J. Block Society, our Vice President, Dr. Jordan Brunson, Secretary, Dr. Javier Johnson, Jordan Brunson, Javier Johnson, Treasurer Kara Hanshaw, our board members, Dr. Eric Tate, Dr. Rob Drummond, in her absence, Dr. Stephen Brooms and Dr. BKM. And these gentlemen do a fantastic job of steering the ship and keeping the mission of Thomas J. Blocker alive through the society and the work that we do. As mentioned, some of the work that we are very proud of is that we think we have the only alumni college or only alumni institution partnership in the United States where students interested in health professions has the opportunity after their academic session is over to shadow practicing physicians here in the Metro Atlanta area, and we have had this formalized program since 2019. This year we've had the largest number of students in this program. Students can be able to shadow myself and Dr. Fred Durden in plastic surgery, Dr. Jared Hugh in anesthesiology at the City of Hope, Dr. Michael Toka, cardiology, Dr. Luther Burse in gastroenterology, Dr. Jason Thomas and Dr. Tori Harden in pediatrics, and Dr. Keelan Miller in orthopedics, and the list goes on. You think about that, you get the opportunity, as Dr. Haynes said, to get to see what your future looks like from somebody who walked the same halls, took the same classes, sat in the same lecture halls that you did. That's a powerful experience for these young men. They come back transformed. They talk about that experience. I know they call me and they tell me, look, I'm a first-year medical student. I didn't get what I got during those 2 weeks working with a Morehouse alum. To the Office of Health Professions, Mr. Richard Samerstein, Mr. Esther Bullock, thank you so much for being partners with the Thomas J. Blocker Society and the work we do in being able to impart our knowledge upon students. To the Morehouse College Biology Department, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for the work you do, the hard work, the foundational work you do for our students. It's truly appreciated. And as mentioned, here, Dr. Cook, if Dr. Cook and Dr. Haynes are giving you the seal of approval that the future of Morehouse biology is strong, then, that's wonderful news. And to our alumni here, thank you. We are not who we are without you. Your presence, your time, your talent, your treasure is all very much necessary for the work that we do, for the impact that we try to have, and for the camaraderie needed to build the next generation of minority medical professionals. We all know that the journey is hard. It's not just the 4 years at Morehouse, but It's the foundational work that we do here that allows us, as Dr. Drummond mentioned, allows us to go across the country to different institutions and change those institutions for the better. To our corporate partners, we have our friends from PNC and from The Equitable, thank you for your philanthropy and always being supporters of the next generation of minority health professionals. We want to share a couple things about what we're going to do in the future. As mentioned here tonight, we're going to ask our alumni to live to the fullest of their potential and to manifest what we know is possible in Morehouse, which is getting back to 30 and 40 graduates every year, going into the health professions, going into research, PhD and MS programs across the country. That's our calling. When you have less than 6% of minority physicians in the country, and the number being 2.5% of African American males in medicine, and a number not that much different for dentistry, and that number has not changed since 1940, we have a lot more work to do. But we have to think and celebrate that that number would not be where it is today if it wasn't for people like Dr. Cook and Dr. Haynes. So in doing so, we want to reach out to our alumni and let them know that we're asking you to be a part of the 300. So that is an initiative to have 300 alumni to donate at the minimum $10,000, and you can do that over a period of 5 years. 10,000, 15, or 25 is the donation amounts. If we're successful, we'll have $4 million where the interest of that money will be able to allow us use that money to recruit for scholarships so we can go out and compete to get the best and brightest. With these recent changes when it comes to affirmative action, students are going to be looking for a home, and that home needs to be Morehouse College. We have our Living Legends Gala, which will take place on Saturday, September 28th. Please pull out your phones and put it in your calendar. And we will honor two of our illustrious alumni, as kind of preempted. One is Dr. Willie Underwood, class of 1988, who is the Board of Trustees Chairman of the American Medical Association and in line to be president of the AMA, which is a very impactful organization when it comes to the profession of medicine. The other is Dr. Harold Jordan, class of 1958, the first Black resident at Vanderbilt Medical Center and longtime chairman of the Department of Psychiatry at Vanderbilt and Meharry. And lastly, we came and we roasted. And so now I'm going to ask all of you to stand, grab your glass, and let's toast.
If you need a glass, let me know. We have some at this table. So if you need a glass, please come this way.
Raise your hand if you need a glass.
Raise your hand if you need a glass.
Hard-working neurosurgeon, get him a glass. We got one more, please. Thank you, sir.
www.thomasjblocker.com thomasjblocksociety.com/donations. Donations. It ain't a trash can. It's donations.
Correct. So let's raise our glass. Toast to our kings of biology, Dr. David B. Cook III and Dr. John K. Haynes. Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Be safe. And good night.